So today on Product Shop, we are finally getting back on the stator wrecker. So last time we ended up, I made this plate, but because I'm pushing horizontal with this hydraulic setup here, the plate's shifting around and moving. Now I did build a stop into the back of this thing, right there. That basically locks into here. And I was gonna box it in so it just kind of sits there, but here's the deal. I noticed when I had like pressure down on this thing, the plate, not only would it shift, but it was kind of kicking around. Like when you push on these, it would want to roll the plate up. So we're gonna bolt this thing down, and to do that, I bought this. You seen I did a review on it, the little Vevor mag drill. So we're gonna put it to use today. Now, these are the biggest bolts I have that actually have nuts on them. Now I'm gonna have to go look, and I'm gonna have to think about this, because I wanted to tap into here, but that would leave basically 1.5 inches or whatever that is sticking up, and I'd have to put a lot of washers on there. Or I could just bore straight through and put them nuts on the bottom side, but then I would have to either tack them on there, or each time I go to undo this, try to get my hand up under there. I just want it to be quick and easy to get in and out. So, but being that we're using hydraulics, okay, with a lot of force, I want big giant bolts, okay? And these are the biggest bolts I can find, where I actually had nuts for them. That's at least what I have in stock. Now, the only thing is, let me show you here. To drill and tap that, we're going to use this 7/8 inch coarse thread tap. Okay, now the problem is I don't have the right size bit. The right size bit is a 49/64 or some weird size, which comes out to like 7 point something, 7.6 for the coarse thread, and then 8 point something for the fine thread. But the only bit I have is a 7.7, which will be slightly loose, but we're going to try it. And what we're going to do is we're going to core it first, get most of the material out of the way with one of these coring bits. I'm just using what I have on hand. I probably should go get the proper stuff, but we don't have time for that. I need to get this thing working. If it doesn't work, we're just going to oversize it, and we're going to put a nut and bolt on it, and I'll tack weld the bolt to the bottom somehow, if that's even possible, with the stainless steel that I have. But what I did originally, I was going to make like a template so that I can transfer the holes to all the different plates, because I need to drill 2 holes in this plate, probably only 1 hole in this plate, and then the new plate, what we're going to do today is build a custom V-block, because this is what I've been using for a V-block to hold the round motors, okay? And this just isn't, it worked, and I used to have 2 little plates in here, but it never really worked well. Too many things were moving around. It just wasn't a proper V-block. And obviously we bent the crap out of it. So originally I was going to use this 1/2 inch plate that I pulled off of there before I replaced it with the 1.5 inch plate. The problem is I put a big belly in here. So we're going to use the plate I got from the scrapyard the other day, which is a 3/4 inch plate that I was going to use to make basically a compactor for the skid steer. I was going to put an attachment on there that I could smash stuff down. Being that this plate is already bent and I'm gonna need something to smash stuff, we're just gonna use this. And we're not gonna have the plate this big. I'll probably just cut a chunk out of here, you know, like a 1x1 piece, to do what we need. I don't need a plate that big for what I want. And then we're gonna use this plate basically for the V-block. I gotta figure out basically how we're gonna get it on there and what we're gonna use. I don't know. I have a lot of different thoughts. This is all up in the air at this point. I was even going to try to use this plate here. But this is a 1/4 inch thick. This is 3/16, I think. This is a 1/16 thinner, and it bent the crap out of this just by pushing this blade through some stators. So I'm thinking, you know what? I want something that's going to last a lifetime and take the brute force that we're going to be putting to it. And that's the 3/4 inch plate. So I'm actually going to look around, see what else I have. Maybe we'll use something else for the base, because it's going to have to straddle, parts of it are going to have to straddle this opening. And when I'm pushing down, I don't want it to fold down or bend. So we might even get a bigger plate. But first thing we're going to do is start out. I've already marked it out. I got center punches on this. We're going to core out these holes with the mag drill and see how that goes. So I'm going to get that set up. We're going to start off with the little, we're going to use the little coring bit to hog out most of the material. And then we'll come back in with that big drill bit and do the final size. And then hopefully we can get that tap in there. If not, we'll just oversize it. The problem is getting a nut and bolt up in there is going to be a pain in the butt. So if I have to, we'll do it one time. We'll get the nut and bolt up in there, and I'll just tack weld it in place underneath, and we can just thread it like that. But we need to be able to bolt these things down with some decent bolts and not have them break. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Oh yeah, I don't even think I can get that off of there. Okay. Okay. We might be bottomed out. I think it's this thing bottoming out. Okay, we might have to not use these cutters, because here's the deal. I need to go 1.5 inches, right? Now the cutter to this lip, there's actually a lip right here, is exactly 1.5 inches. Slightly over, maybe like a 32nd or 64th over, right? The problem is, that's the 1.5 inch depth, right? There's a ledge in there that's probably a 1/4 inch, and what it's doing is bottoming out on that core. Now I'm gonna try, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try something that I used to do when I used to do core drilling for concrete. I don't know if it's gonna work on this because this is steel and there's still a pretty decent core there. I actually don't think it's gonna work at all, but I'm gonna try. When I used to core drill, we used to snap the cores and extract it so we can drill down deeper. So let me find something that I can get in there. Okay. I didn't think that was going to work, but it was worth a shot. I mean, I'm sure if I sat here and wiggled that back and forth enough, I would have to move the core drill, which I don't want to. It's locked into place, centered. Let me just try one more thing. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go get my jack, and I don't want to move this thing, but I need to raise this up. Maybe I'll get a jack stand in here, see if we can't use the hydraulics to pick this up. Should have done that before I started, but that's where we're at. Okay, so being that that coring thing is not going to work, we might just go ahead and pre-drill with this one. I don't know, maybe I'll try and just hog it out with this big drill bit, but I don't know if that's actually going to start cutting or not. We'll just have to see. But I'm going to get that core out of there and see what happens. Okay, I just got done drilling that hole. Man, that drill bit made some nice coils. I had that thing kind of dialed right in there. I'm pretty impressed with the little drill. Now, I'm really on the fence. I'm trying to determine whether or not I want to tap that hole now. And I'll tell you why. It's so close to this beam, and I can't just pull the beam out, which would be ideal. I mean, I guess I could just pull the beam out. I'd have to move the table out into the center here, and then bring the skid steer in and pick this whole thing up off of it. And yeah, it's going to be a project. Or I just through bolt it, or just drill a slightly larger diameter hole and weld the nut to the bottom or something. I'm really on the fence here. I got to think about this, but I am super impressed with this little drill. It's crazy how the speed you dial it down, and the more pressure you put on it, bogs the drill down, but the drill brings the speed up to match what you're doing. You know, it's actually pretty cool. The drill's doing exactly what I want it to do. Now, the only thing is, like, those angular cutters, that's obviously an issue. We're gonna not use these anymore. We're just gonna drill a smaller, I'm probably gonna get an even smaller bit, or maybe use this one. That's a pretty decent bit there. And pre-drill with that, and then hog it with that bit. Let me, problem is I can't swing the tap, which is gonna make this really problematic. I really want to tap these. I'd rather have it tapped than have bolts on the bottom. I'm not opposed to putting bolts on the bottom. Yeah, there's no way we're getting that in there. I'm probably gonna have to do little sections at a time. I wanted to try and use this centerpiece to center the tap to make sure we're, I might be able to get it to do that still. So that might work. The only thing is I'm going to have to start this with an adjustable wrench. Whew. Tell you what, this is some tedious stuff, man. I gotta sit down for this. It's the first time I'm ever tapping a hole sitting down. Wow. Whew. Okay, that actually worked out good. Even though the drill bit was like point something, just a few points, like probably a 16th or a 64th too big. It worked out great. That was a lot of work. That's the hardest drill. Actually, that's the biggest hole I've ever tapped. The fact that I couldn't get a full swing made that difficult, but I'm really stoked about that. I'd rather have it in there than a nut underneath. So it's just going to make it easier for me. We will have to, you know, make sure we don't mar this up. I might have to get like a big, I do have one of them Christmas tree taps. I might just want to open the top of this up so when I'm moving stuff I don't knock the thread over. I know there's I don't think I have one, but there is a tool to make a an inside chamfer, if that's what it's called, or a taper. We need to taper that a little bit, just so if the top does get kind of dinged up, it's not going to mess up the ability to send a thing in there. So I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to time-lapse the rest. We got 3 more of these holes to do. The mag drill worked. It's a little small, but it actually worked great in this tight area. I wish the angular bits would have been a little deeper, but what we're going to do is just use the drill chuck. Use this. This worked out really well for setting the tap, because going through that big area there, you want to make sure your tap is going in, starting straight. Because if you start on a slight angle, you'll never get that tap to go all the way through. Now this thing does say you can tap with it, but I don't think you're tapping these big threads, and I can't even get that in there. Smaller taps, I could see this thing maybe running a small tap. We'll try that one day. I've actually never power tapped anything. I'd be afraid of breaking the tap, but it is what it is. Yeah, we're one step closer. 3 more of those, and then I got to do, it's going to be easier. I'll flip this plate over upside down, or I got to figure out if I can mag to the top of this. We'll see, but I got to drill 4 holes in this. Once we get that in, I got to drill 2 holes in, where's the other one? This one. We're just going to do 2 holes in that, because that's basically just pulling. I don't think I can actually get 4 holes in that, but we'll see. If we can, we will. Depending on where it sits in there. But yeah, I'm actually, it's my first time running a mag drill, and I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm not impressed with those little angular bits, but it's doing good with the drill bit. So we're going to time lapse this. I'm going to get the next 3 holes done, then we'll figure out this plate, that plate, and then we're just going to go ahead and make a whole new plate for this. We actually need to make 2 more things, but the other one's going to require a bigger, thicker plate, and that's going to be the one to push out the cores. All right, that was one of the more tedious things I've ever done, but we got our bolts. As you can see, I had put crosshairs on them. They're pretty centered. Now, after I tapped it, I found my Christmas tree drill bit, and I didn't have a proper, like, you know, that round thing that you put in there, but you know, it'll do exactly what I needed to do. Kind of put a little inner chamfer on there. These threads are really nice. Now, being that I'm like probably like 0.0 something slightly bigger than I should have been, there's a little bit of wiggle in them bolts, okay, but there's 1.5 inches of thread there. I think we're going to be fine. They're gripping tight. And yeah, I think we're good, man. These bolts are going to be awesome. Now, a couple things. The tap, I'm already having problems with the thread right here. This is the same problem I had the first time around. This thing is doing weird stuff. I'm going to take it back and get a new one. Now, I was hogging on that thing, and I did have to cut a piece of conduit, which slipped right over there, perfect fit, to extend the handles and put some serious torque on them last couple, because that was tough. This one here, I could wrap around the thing here, and it wasn't too bad, but that thing there was in the way. I couldn't get a real good feel on it, and I felt like after tapping these 2 holes and that third one started getting tough, I feel like maybe the edge on the tap was you know, wearing out. I don't know, maybe not. It's you know, it's Harbor Freight. As for the little mag drill, this thing is a little champion, man. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. The only thing I had to do is, as you can see right here, there's a little metal pin. I couldn't figure out how. It might have just unscrewed from this side. I don't know. I just took the cut off, whacked it off, so I can bring the drill up. Like, it was actually on the top side, it was a little lower down into the aluminum, you know, like down here somewhere. So I being that the grip is down here, you can see the lock is like down there. You know, now I could bring this up, even if I wanted to bring it up a little bit beyond this piece. I was able to swing the bits in and out. It was getting kind of annoying. Oh, we got some thunderstorm and rain coming now. Yeah, the little drill worked out great, and this little thing here helped me center the taps. That worked great. All this stuff is nice. Now what I need to do is move on to the plate. So what I'm going to do is flip this plate over. So somehow I got to transfer those marks. Now I took this, I was thinking, I was like, man, I don't remember how square I made this, but luckily I did some measurements. Okay. Oh, I feel like that moved now. Or something. Oh, you know what happened? Okay, I know what's going on here. This is tweaked. This is where I tweaked the frame with the 100-ton press. When this was down 1 notch, this face here is pretty square to everything relative, because this thing has a lot of wiggle room, right? So it's just squares. It's actually pretty square when it's down here and not on one of these wallowed out bent holes. So what I basically can do, I'm pretty sure that thing sits flush with this front corner. I'm just going to put it on here and verify real quick. I can just measure back from the front, and I believe I have a center mark on that, but I will put it on here and do some remarking, being that I have my lines coming down. I can mark the front, I can mark the back, and at least know where the line is, and then I'll have to measure back from the face to get my 2 holes. It's not going to be too critical. It doesn't have to be a super tight tolerance fit, because it does have this thing here that will catch in there to hold it from sliding back. Just going to plant it down and keep it from rocking back and forth and flipping up. So I'm going to get that situated, and I'm hoping I can just use one of the, because I'm not drilling through too thick of a plate, I can use one of them bigger angular drills. Let's see what we got. So we're at 0.871. This is basically 1 inch. Oh no, this is 0.81. This is not big enough. That's a 21 by 30. Our next up is a 24 by 30. 0.930. This will give just a little bit wiggle room. Kind of big. I'm gonna think on that for a minute. I'm gonna go see what size other drill bits I have. Man, that rain is coming down like crazy. Woo! The only problem with a metal roof is really loud. But I'm gonna go find some other drill bits. If I have to, I'll use this. It won't be too bad. That's 0.93. Man, that's a good 1/16 of an inch. You know what? I think for this plate, we're gonna try that. I think when I go and make the dedicated splitter, I might try something with a little more tolerance. But this plate here, a little bit of wiggle room just in case I get my measurements off. A little bit of wiggle room won't hurt. And that's only a 32nd on each side. You know, and this thing, once it's clamped down, I don't think it's going anywhere. Okay, moment of truth. Now I'll probably have to deburr that a little bit. Looks like we might be close. Oh no. Looks like we're a little off on this one. Not sure what happened there. We are perfect on these ones. Man, they are right on. Somehow we got off on one. Let's see what happened here. Now, being that this is the drill that this is, man, we got way off on that hole. We need to go about 1/8 of an inch that way. Wow. Okay. Let me see if I can't just moon that corner with the core, and I'm not sure. I'll have to flip it over and look at the marks. Maybe I set it up wrong. These are perfect. These ones here. Now I am gonna get different bolts, some really high grade bolts that are just, they don't have to be this long, but yeah. But this is what I was going for. 3 out of 4, unfortunately. Let me see if I can't get that thing mooned out. Man, I can't believe I got that far off. All the other ones were really good. All right, take 2. Now, I think what happened is when I was putting this in here, this thing was sliding back and forth like this. And it was hard to get an accurate measurement. And you can see I had 2 lines scribed on here, and I think I wind up picking the wrong line, or something happened there. But let's see if I cord it. Now I put that mag drill on there and just kind of stepped it over a little bit. I didn't measure anything, so I just kind of eyeballed it. If that was a regular drill bit, I would have never been able to do that. Now it definitely looks better. Unfortunately, it's a little, we're gonna have to see that oval, but for what we're doing, I think it's gonna be perfectly fine. Let's see. And I think I was gonna do smaller diameter bolts. I'm glad I went with the bigger ones, the extra work. I think the brute force of, you know, pushing back, it's already so much better. Now obviously I'm going to have to get different bolts, and that's bottomed out, but that shank will go through there. Oh no, it didn't bottom out yet. I guess I could put a stack of washers on there for now. But yeah, all right, man, now we have our plate secure. I just got to be better about transferring it was tough because I'm trying to measure off of, I was trying to measure off of this cut. This was cut with my torch, and it's not, you know, it's very close. So I had to add like a 1/16 to my measurement because this sits back a little bit. So I couldn't get it like a real measurement, and it's a little more here. It's almost like an 1/8 right here. And it was hard to try to get everything square because this plate on top is not, it's cut with a torch. So it's not perfectly square, you know? So it was hard to get. The fact that I got that close actually surprised me, you know? So I'm okay with that. Now going forward, since I have a grid laid out under here, the other plates, which will sit back a little bit, I should have no problem laying it out. But even just like that, just them bolts sitting in there, I mean, this thing is, you know, obviously once we bolt it down, it's going to be solid. And I believe that's 3/4 of an inch, so 1.5 inches. Now we're 2 inches, over 2 inches of thickness right here, where we're going to be doing the crack in and stuff like that. And then I got something, hopefully I can get the piece I seen. We'll be having even thicker setup on the 150-ton press, so we can really put this blade to use. I mean, I cracked some stuff with this and it didn't even, it's still like a brand new edge on there. So next thing I got to do is core this one, which should be a lot easier because I can actually see the lines. This is a little smaller and it's going to sit back. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so this one is going to sit in there like this. And this is 2 foot. on there, and then I got this line here is flush with here, and this, when this thing slides in up here, this thing here, okay, this is like they're parallel, or they're in plumb, I guess. I don't know what you would call that, but they're on the same plane right there, right? Now I can see my lines here. So that one was hard because I couldn't really see the lines, and I think that's where I kind of got off. And what might be a problem is, well, I mean, that's pretty dang centered. I mean, I thought maybe I had my hole off, but it's pretty well, I got them pretty centered, man. I don't know what I was thinking there. I started punching it, and it got kind of off. So on this grid, whatever this grid is, the grid is the inside of this here, right? I went 2 inches in, 2 inches in from the, that. So everything should be relatively easy to transfer, but now all my plates going forward, I can just kind of put them here, put a straight edge right on top, run my lines, right? And it looks like I'll actually be able to get both them bolts. Well, this hole might be somewhat out of, but here's the line here. I can run the lines, I can make a mark here and a mark there and flip this over and scribe the lines across and get it, and then I just need to measure it. As long as I measure the centers, maybe we won't have that issue what we had over there. But even so, it really doesn't matter for these as long as it's secured down and not moving. If it's, a little bit off. Now, that one there is going to be more critical. That one, I have to really try to get everything as square as possible, because I'm going to be laying those things in, and if it's not square, it's going to be cutting into the laminates of the things. So I gotta, that's going to be I gotta really kind of measure 10 times and cut once type deal there, because we want it to be precise. And these holes, that core bit that I've cored with, that's like perfect for these size bolts, because it's like, I mean, there's just I think it's a 16th, if that, so it's a 32nd on each side. That's pretty good, man. I mean, we could tighten that up a little bit, but I feel if we tightened it up anymore, because this was not like done on a digital CNC machine, it's just all hand and whatever, I think we'll be good. If I get it pretty close, within a 16th of an inch, I think we're going to be fine. And maybe I can do some tweaking up here, I don't know. But I'm super stoked about that. This is, I've been meaning to do this for a while now. And now we're going to move on to, now that we can bolt our plates down, it won't be that much to go from one to the other. Basically, I'll get a socket dedicated to this, and bam, we'll be able to do a whole run. Boom, unbolt it real fast, swap in the next plate, move on, so I have the dedicated, well, not dedicated, but the V block that I need to put in here, and then I need to make another plate for pushing out shafts, and then drill the holes in this one, and then we have a solid setup here, okay? And then once I work out all the kinks with this, which we're pretty much there, we'll clean this up, and then most likely we're gonna have to I'm really on the fence of what to do with the transformer press, because they do trickle in here and there. I don't think I'm gonna completely take it down. I was gonna just repurpose it, but I think I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna condense that down over a little bit more, and then we're gonna mount this press in that table somehow, or next to the table, And then we're going to add the 150 ton right here. This will stay here. This is going to be part of the 150 ton. And then this press here will basically get, I will take this and mount it right in that table. And then this will be, it'll still do everything. All these jigs will work for this one or the other one. So I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other one, but I think we're going to go with a thicker plate. I got my eyeball on something really thick for the 150 ton, but we will drill the same, we will do the same exact thing. You know, we'll tap it in, so all these plates and all these jigs will work for this press or that press. It'll be, you know, whatever. And then most likely this plate here is going to stay on the 150 ton. And this is going to be for braking. And then this one here will probably be more dedicated towards pulling the copper. And then we are going to build a whole nother press that's going to be dedicated for splitting. I want a small blade, that size, maybe bigger, maybe a 14-inch. And then we need a monster blade. And we're going to do it all in the same press. It's going to have a big section and then a smaller section to the side for the little stuff. But it's going to be boom, boom, boom. We're going to knock this stuff out. And we're one step closer. We're getting there, man. It's a lot of work. I mean, if I could just sit here and fabricate all day, we'd be a little further along, but you know, we got to do some scrapping to pay the bills, and I got a bunch of other stuff that has to be done in the meantime. But we're just gonna keep trucking along here. Now I'm really excited about this. I'm excited about the next step here, and you're gonna have to stay tuned. That's gonna be it for this video. If you come this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate all you guys. I hope you guys have a great 4th of July. Stay safe out there. Hope you and your family are doing great. Thank you to all the members, all the subscribers, everybody that comments, and everybody that watches. I really do appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dancing before?